would be the last 5 minutes,
Oh,
probably,
yeah.
that I would ever have with my mother. You know what she said to me, Christopher?
What is it? What did she say?
Sweetheart, don't cry. Make me a promise. I said, okay, whatever. I'll promise you anything. She looked at me and she said, dance on my grave. What? I said, what? I can't go dance on your grave. My mom said, sweetheart, if you knew what I know about where I'm going,
Mm.
you would celebrate my
Wow.
departure. Dance on my grave. I said, I promise you that I will. She said, ah, oh, that's my boy. And you know, Christopher, I actually did. A
That
couple
was
of
my
months
next
after
question.
a couple of months after my mom passed, I actually went to her gravesite. And when I got there, I looked both ways to make sure no one was watching because I didn't want
Mhm.
them to think that I was being totally sacrilegious.
Mhm.
I got up on her grave and I danced. I did a little soft shoe.
Mhm.
I said, "This is for you, Mom."
Mhm.
And I celebrated her joy, her peace, her happiness, knowing that
Mhm.
she was home again with God. And then, although I didn't have any idea, but 25 or 30 years later, I happened to write a book called Home with God in a Life That Never Ends.
Mhm.
It was one of the 9 Conversations with God dialogue books. And it was focused tightly on the experience that we call death, which is not a natural experience, just a change of address. So I wrote a book called Home with God in a Life That Never Ends. And it's one of the most widely read of the 9 Conversations with God dialogue books.
Mhm.
So that's my experience of moving through grief.
Mhm.
Is that when I now have become aware that a person who's close to me has passed on, I celebrate.
Reminds me of the story about your mom. Reminds me of Ram Dass when he says death is like taking off a tight shoe.
That's great. I knew Richard well. I know that
Yeah.
you called him Ram Dass, but I knew him
Right.
as Richard Albert.
Uh-huh.
And I've had personal conversations with Richard.